Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron channel. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. Massive Iron Live is the longest running lifting podcast in the history of the universe. And I've been here forever. We'll be here forever. Appreciate you guys joining me. During this live, you guys can post up your questions on anything diet, training, nutrition, off topic, doesn't matter. I'm here to help. Don't feel like a question has been answered 1,000 times before. If you need help in any way, please don't hesitate to post up your questions. Now, if you're late to the party and tuning in after live is done, please feel free to head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Slide into my DM, ask any questions you want. You can also email me using that, benthebarman@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. I would love to help. So before we get started, just a couple of quick things. If your comments don't go through, try shortening them. If they are too long, sometimes YouTube will screen them or filter them or not show them. And sometimes YouTube will simply filter a comment because it has a word it doesn't like. Who knows? It's social media, right? I can't figure it out. So if your comment's not going through, it's not me banning you or blocking you or doing anything like that. Just try rewording things, etc. So how's everybody doing? Did you have a good week of training? What program are you using? Anything you're struggling with? Let me know. Any big wins? I'd love to hear it. Go ahead and post it up. One thing I mentioned, or I've been trying to mention during the YouTube live, is if you have a form video that you would like me to critique live, don't hesitate to paste the link here in the window. I'd be happy to take a look. Squats, bench, deads, Romanians, doesn't really matter. Curls, seated rows, doesn't really matter. I'd be happy to take a look. So before I move on, just a reminder, my most popular service other than coaching is my custom workout service. Usually I get about 3 or 4 of those a week. I'm caught up for this weekend. So if you need a custom workout, you can head over here to my website. Simply go to the search button and search custom. It will sorry, somebody mentioned you got cut off. Go over here to the search button and just search custom, and you will be able to find the custom workout service. It's only $39, and it is, hold on one second. It's only $39, and it is completely tailored to whatever you have going on. Your specific equipment, injury history. Sorry, somebody keeps messaging me on WhatsApp, and it keeps popping up over the screen. Your equipment, your injury history, your split preference, etc. So if you're interested, just head over here and hit custom. Coaching is what I do for a living, and I would love to work with you. If you've never worked with a coach, I do things very, very different. A lot of the coaches in the industry do once a week check-ins. I check in every single day, Monday through Friday. I like to stay up on things. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time, but I'll check in on form videos, on weight, on questions, et cetera, et cetera. And my coaching is only $89.40. It's a very reasonable price compared to other coaching services in the industry. I'm able to do that because I coach full-time. And I was voted Online Coach of the Year, beating out, believe it or not, 400,000 other online coaches on the world's largest coaching app, Trainerize. This isn't anything I sought after. This isn't anything I had to get people to vote for or anything ridiculous like that. They noticed my coaching service because I had over 90,000 messages in 2023 back and forth between myself and my client. So if you want the best possible communication, I'll give you my best possible effort or attempt to stay up on things on an ongoing in an ongoing manner. please head over here and just check the coaching tab. I would love to help. Now, one more quick thing before we get going. In my Team Massive, if you're on Discord, you can find the link to my previous video to my Discord channel. On Discord, we have a Discord channel, and on Discord, on Discord, I should say, I posted a link to the new Savage, my new Savage PDF. It's not completed yet, but the Savage protocol, which I'm going to be making an official video on very soon. I'm going to have an individualized group. I'm going to have a private group for folks that want to run the Savage. Either they want to try it on their own workouts. This is available for my clients. Or if you want me to build you a custom Savage workout, I will do that as well. But we're going to kind of have a month, I don't know, maybe a month long private group, kind of a Kickstarter group to get everybody moving on it. For anybody that might be interested and have questions, etc. So look for that very, very soon. All right, let's get rolling. I hope you guys, any big plans for the weekend? Big Ernie P, what's going on, Big Ernie? Good to have you here. Big Joe B, thanks for tuning in. And Rico, thanks for tuning in. Tell us the news. We got our website up for my workout tracker app, and I'm going to share that with you guys right now. We are getting pretty close to releasing it, and I'm going to post the link here in just a second. So hold on 1 second. We will find it. I'm going to post the link right now. There's not much here on the link, so don't panic. But you can go over here and you can sign up, put in your email. We're not going to spam you or send you 8,000 messages a week. It's simply to notify you when it's going live, to keep you up to date. If you want to check out my workout tracker, we have been developing this for quite a long time. And it is, let me find it here. There we go. It is not just going to be a workout tracker. This is going to be something that we put a lot of work into. A lot of these workout trackers are developed by guys that don't really lift but code, right? There are some fitnessy people behind it, obviously, but this is developed from the ground up from me. And the workout tracker is going to really function in more an intuitive way, be designed for people like myself, people like yourself that, aren't just general fitness people, that are lifters and want all the tools and the information and the bells and whistles for lifters. It is also going to have an in-app social media feed. So you'll be able to follow people. You'll be able to post, it'll have workout feeds. We're also working on something that is very much in the vein of like Instagram or the old Tumblr, where you can post a picture and have text with it. I'm hoping eventually to have the feature where you'll be able to rate, not just thumbs up, but be able to, give positive feedback, different ways to rate a post, like, oh, that was just a generic thumbs up, or a light bulb, that was very insightful, things like recipes, so on and so forth. So we're trying to have this a little bit more elaborate than a basic workout tracker. Analytics and progress, daily habit tracking, all this is built in. So if you want to stay up on it, please head over to the website and just put in your email, stay up to date. I promise you, we will not spam you. So that is the word, the Pro Workout Tracker. Richard, what is going on, Richard? Happy Friday. How's the chest maximizing horizontal twist going? Was it a success? Absolutely a success. If anybody missed those shenanigans, do I have the video file handy? Hold on. I just recorded my wife and tossed her into I don't think I have it here. You can check it out on my Instagram, Eben the Barman. We were talking about creating a new influencer variation on the old bench press. Let's see. Will your app help with progressive overload? It's going to have all of my standard massive iron progression approaches in, and you will be able to build your own progression approaches from the ground up. So it's going to have all my tools in there. It's not a massive iron app, so to speak, but I'm pulling over a lot of the information from the massive iron world, threes and DDP and all the different, straight sets, all the different progression approaches, and you can use them in the app, or you can create your own or just go without them. It doesn't really matter. So it's going to have a lot of the massive iron tools in it. It will also have 4 baseline massive iron workouts for free, 4 basic structures that you can work from, and you can change exercises if you want, whatever you want to do. All right. Scotty, MC, how's it going? Scott, good to see you. Aloha, big fella. Have you watched the new Netflix documentary that critiques the NBC show, The Biggest Loser? I was actually talking about this a little bit on Team Massive yesterday. I'm curious to watch it because I saw some information from Jillian Michaels about it, and not a lot, just a little bit of a teaser. So I'm very curious to tune in. I won't be shocked by any of it, to be honest with you, because I'm pretty certain, there are a lot of stage moments or a lot of, the show had to have a lot of pressure to get results. So I imagine they did a lot of extreme and radical things without caring about the contestants and their health as much as they appeared. So if you guys have any general feedback on that, don't hesitate to let me know. This Massive Iron Live is sponsored by Purple Monster. Not really. I've really cut down on my Monster usage, maybe a couple a week right now, and focusing more on black coffee, not for any really reason other than Monsters are so darn expensive, and I don't need to be spending the money on them. All right. Richard, how is the case of the appearance of the mysterious ice cream in the car? My wife, she exercises 3 or 4 hours a day. So she'll get up and she'll go to the YMCA and do a class. And then at night, she does 2 to 3 hours of dance classes, various dance classes, pole dancing, chair dancing, whatever. She just likes to, that's her form of activity. So long story short, she works out 3 or 4 hours a day, and her maintenance level must be ridiculous because she could have ice cream every day and not put on an ounce of weight, just from all the calories she burns. And I'm on like day 12 or 13 of a cutting diet. And we were sitting in the car taking the dog to surgery or picking up the dog from surgery. And she's eating an ice cream next to me while I'm struggling on my cut. I want to practice my front squat, as you recommend, incorporating it several times a week. Okay. There's nothing wrong with practicing it. It's a lift a lot of people don't really care for, so don't feel a lot of pressure to stick with it, if you don't care for it. But if you need any help, don't hesitate to get a video and post it up on Team Massive. I'd love to take a look. One of the things that bothers me about the front squat is that when I back up, unless there's a mirror in front of me, I can't check my feet, because moving my head forward, you're going to have a tendency of pushing that weight forward. Plus, you can't really see over the bar, your elbows or whatever. That bothers me. So I think you really have to have a pretty reasonable amount of discipline or understanding of even the back squat and getting your feet in proper position to do the front squat. Or Celium, did I pronounce that correctly? I just did back squats basically for the first time. Quads are ridiculously sore. Good, that's a positive thing. What's a reasonable method at 52 years old to go? There's no reasonable method. I'm going to be honest with you. This is something I tell to my clients and folks on Team Massive and in videos. Very few people hit 315. On the internet, everybody's hitting it. In the real world, it's a major, major accomplishment. So getting there is a major accomplishment. There's no program to help you get there, right? It's not as simple as that. The biggest cornerstone of squat improvement is going to be form. So you want to make sure your form is nailed down. On the internet, everybody has wonderful form, but it is one of the most troublesome exercises when it comes to learning and mastering form. You want to have some good eyeballs on it if you want to expedite your squat progress. So please head over to my Discord or email me or go into my Instagram DM, send me your squat form so I can take a look. And if you're interested in a little bit more personalized help, I could build you a custom workout. If you're interested in coaching, I'd love to work with you to help you get to that type of goal because I love these sorts of goals. With that said, you need to keep an eye on form. A good place to start probably would be like the 3s or 2s protocol, something really, really simple. I wouldn't squat more than once a week because you're going to be picking up a lot of soreness. And, other than that, I would build a base for your quads and the rest of your lower body using some exercise variety like a leg press, a hack squat, lunges, leg extensions. I'd work some of that in the mix so we can get a little bit more well-rounded base. I don't know your situation, so I'm just handing out generic advice. And thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. Shelly, a client of mine, always good to see Shelly. So we're about 18 minutes in. Let me get a drink. What are you guys doing this weekend? I need to watch a new Superman movie. So that's on the to-do list. I just have to get the wife to be in the mood for that one. I started watching Untamed. Martin, one of my clients, mentioned it, and we watched the first episode and really liked that. I haven't had a chance to watch a new Alien series, so I'd be curious. No spoilers, but go ahead and give me your thumbs up or thumbs down on that if you watched it. Black Parabellum, can you cut? Nay said, sorry, got cut off. I'm just trying to see. I don't see the remainder of this question, so I apologize. Ernie, how are you dogs doing? I had one dog go through surgery a couple weeks ago. Bluey, he had his man surgery. Plus, we got him from the vet with a hernia, and we got a discount from the breeder because he was a special needs dog. He's doing really, really well. He bounced back quickly. Our youngest dog, Bird, I call him Little Bird or Bird, we were given him from the breeder because he was literally a day away from death. When I got him, he had absolutely horrible pneumonia. He was all ribs and so skinny. He was just not in good shape. I drove him home from the breeder right in here. I put him in here. And when I'm sitting, he's just sitting here as I'm driving, keeping him warm. And I honestly, when I was bringing, I could hear him wheezing. The vet said the breeder said they had taken him to the vet several times and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. We brought him home. I literally thought he wasn't going to make it more than 2 days. He was in that bad of shape. And slowly he improved. And now he is a wonderful part of our family. He had his boy surgery yesterday. But, of course, he had complications. He had a testicle that hadn't dropped. And he's just a little guy. And his incision's that big. And he was just sitting there in the middle of the floor, not moving, looking confused. He was throwing up. He was just in pretty bad shape. He's a little bit better today. I took him outside a couple of times, but pretty rough for the poor guy. Pretty rough, but he will bounce back. Woodulus from Scotland, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Definitely Priest. I have nothing against AC/DC, so let's not start a fight. Old AC/DC is absolutely it for me. Like, I was there when, Back in Black came out, and, for those about to rock, I have no problems with those albums. But give me the old AC/DC. That stuff is gold. Priest is great. Old AC/DC is up there. I mean, in the Massive Iron world, the answer is always both, right? Hey, Steve and Team Massive, good morning. Good to have you here. Good evening, where you are in the world. You have a question? Absolutely. I'd love to help. Fire away, fire away, fire all the questions you want. Big Lee. Excuse me, just finished my back. Didn't have the kids today. So while I didn't hear from them, while I didn't hear them moaning and playing brain-rotting music, the workout felt lacking without my kids being around. Still hit a +1. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad you made some progress. Lee is always a major poster here. I don't recall, I know how your age of your kids. So just curious if they're young guns or a little bit older in the teens. Also, tomorrow I go to Skegness for a day out at the beach. It's a disgusting bleep hole, but people from Nottingham love it, including me included. I'll have to Google that one because I have no idea. Big Justin. Good morning, Big Hairy Ugly Dude and Team Massive. What do you tell someone who doesn't feel like lifting today? Don't hold back. I'll try to do this without swearing, but I really don't care how you feel. Your body doesn't care how you feel. Friday doesn't care how you feel. My feelings, right? Who cares about your feelings, Justin? I don't really care how you feel. I mean, that's the difference between somebody that's going to be successful and somebody that's not going to be successful and consistent. Everything they do is based off how they feel that day. I woke up this morning and I felt like crap. I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like eating. It's Friday. I don't feel like making good choices. Feel. Anytime the word feeling invades, now we're not talking about valid feelings like I love you, you're so beautiful, I feel attracted to you. We're not talking about that type of stuff, right? We're talking about feelings when it comes to taking care of yourself and doing the right thing. I don't feel like doing the right thing today. I don't feel like taking my, vitamins. I don't feel like taking my supplements. I don't feel like eating right. I don't feel like getting in my protein. I don't feel like sticking to my cutting diet. I don't feel like sticking to my bulking diet. I feel like having a lot of exercise. I'm very feely today. Feeling, whenever that word invades the diet and nutrition and fitness and lifting space in your head, it's like a red alert. Anytime the word feel enters, you're like, red alert, red alert, red alert. Wait. Feeling is often pushback, okay? Not always. We're not trying to make generalizations, but whenever that word feel comes in, it's like a little devil on your shoulder. He's there like, I don't feel like doing this today. The brain has kind of set us up to, stay in a comfort zone. I mean, comfort is what we seek as a species. When you're not hungry, when you're not tired, when you're not sore, when there's an abundance of food, your bank account has more than a couple $100, you're in a comfort zone, and that's a wonderful place to be. But the brain is kind of always pushing us to stay in the comfort zone. you're where you want to be. There's no point in going out and doing something extreme. Stay in your comfort zone. Just get a little rest. Have a little pizza. Have a couple drinks. Don't do your program, right? I don't feel. That's the brain, the devil on your shoulder. It's just part of what we are as a species, telling us to stay in the comfort zone. It's very natural, but anytime the word feel invades, it's like a red flag, like a red alert, right? I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. What I say is, I do not care what you feel like doing. This is self-talk. I don't care what you feel like doing. I have to train legs later. I don't feel like training legs. I don't care how I feel, because the word feel is an enemy to me. It is my enemy. When I sit here and I'm sitting here, you're just looking at something or trying to solve a problem or trying to build a workout, in the back of my brain, for no reason, I don't feel like working out today. Why don't you feel like working out today? Because I just want to sit around and it's Friday and some lame excuse will set in. My big toe hurts. I grazed my, I grazed my elbow on the stair railing, and I have a little boo-boo. You know the feeling, right? You're just sitting there and that little voice comes in your head. I don't feel like working out. Sometimes you're just sitting at work at your desk and not even thinking about lifting or not even thinking about nutrition. And all of a sudden you say, I feel like pizza tonight. You weren't even thinking about it, right? Or then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not going to work out. I'm going to go get pizza, right? It just can be like an invader. It can come out of the blue. It is the enemy, the word feeling. And I want you just to make the connection with the word feeling. When that word comes, it's like, step back. The enemy has invaded my space. Let's be real, I never feel like working out. I never feel like doing anything other than eating pizza or beer. I mean, we might, but you know what I'm saying? Like, given the choice, I always feel more like doing that than I do like working out, even though I love working out. But, given the choice, I mean, I feel like sitting down and watching a movie and eating pizza and drinking beer, and I don't feel like doing squats. So you have to be aware of that word feeling, and you have to fight back. You have to do what you need to do. You need to stick to your plan, because when you are done, you will feel better about yourself. So the true feeling better is at odds with doing something that feels good in the moment. Those two are at odds against one another. When you do the right thing, you feel better at the end, and 99% of the time. When you do the wrong thing, you do what feels good in the moment, but it doesn't feel good afterwards. Does that make sense? So you have to make a choice. Am I going to do something that feels good in the moment, but that I will regret and doesn't feel good later on? Or am I going to make the hard decision and stick to the plan and feel better later? This is a major, major issue for many people, and it's something we need to think about. It's not always easy, but I hope this makes sense. This is a very, very big choice, and where a lot of people that are struggling with weight, they're not pushing back. We are not making fun of folks, because this is not an easy battle. Everywhere we look, there are food choices. Everywhere. We can't go anywhere without there being food. You go to a social event, you go out to a kid's ball game, they're selling hot dogs, or you have a brat stand or whatever, barbecue stand or whatever they're doing. Everywhere you go is food. You just go to run a couple of errands, stop to get gas, there's food. You pass by 52 different restaurants, there's food everywhere. And this is a struggle for a lot of people that really are having a hard time losing weight. The only thing I can say is just remember this: feelings. You can either do what feels good in the moment, but you will regret it generally later and you'll feel bad about it, or you can fight it now and feel better after the battle has been won. No, you're not going to win every battle. Obviously, we don't live in that kind of fantasy, fake optimization influencer world. But I hope this really makes some sense. It's just something to think about. Do I want to feel good now or do I want to feel good later? Because when you go out and overstuff with that food or that alcohol, you generally don't feel decent later. I don't want to skip forward to this. I want to state that I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just telling you what I go through in my head and the battle that I see as a coach a lot. Do what feels good now. Generally, it's followed by regret later, or fight. Be aware the feeling good now is typically an enemy. Let's be honest. It's an enemy with your long-term goals. I see so many people that are passionate about getting in better shape, making change, but they don't engage in that fight in the moment. And again, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I'm not saying it is, but we have to be aware, number one, and we have to develop a plan to take steps to fight it, or at least, I don't want to feel that regret. Jay Ant, regarding feelings topic, I'm a therapist and discuss similarly as you. Often anxiety, depression is that little devil on your shoulder whispering to us to just stay in the miserable bubble of comfort. And I appreciate you saying that, because that adds a lot of depth. And this is a discussion I would love to have with you. I mean, I wish we could sit down and just discuss this for a while, because it's always interesting when you have folks from different sides of the world that deal with folks that, find this convergence. And that little devil on the shoulder tends to just pop up. And a lot of times it's not really grounded in anything. Maybe habits a little bit, like I know the way M&Ms taste, and something deep inside your soul is craving ice cream or not. That happens to me. I'll just be randomly sitting around and like, oh, I could go for nachos tonight. Like, where did that craving come from? I probably could go for nachos every night. Really, really could. That doesn't mean I want to enter the world of regret. One of the biggest things that has changed for me in overcoming binge eating and helping myself fight that battle is fighting back against this and not doing things I regret. Do I still have nachos? Yeah. Do I still have ice cream? Yes. The portions are smaller. I never get to the point where I'm over full. And I have learned by pushing back not to ever do anything I regret. It's the worst feeling in the world. And anybody that's struggling with their weight knows exactly what I am talking about. All right, let me get back to where we were. Let me get a drink. All right, Steph. I was wondering how much I should be eating on the days I burn over 1,000 calories from cardio riding my bike, especially if I want to keep losing fat. I'm going to be honest with you, Steph, this is a very complex subject, and it requires us to dive in because there's a lot of variables, and I can't give you generic advice. Are you tracking calories? What are your calories? Are you actually burning 1,000 calories, or is the app just telling you you're burning 1,000 calories? Now, don't take that the wrong way. I'm not dismissing your effort at all. Here is what I mean. I'm certain you're working hard, and I'm certain you're burning a lot of calories. but the apps can be very misleading. I would go out, and for a long time, I was running 2 hours a day. I was running 10 to 14 hours a week, generally 12 to 14 hours a week. Every 2-hour block, I remember this number specifically. My running app would tell me I burned 1,753 calories in 2 hours. I was like, I felt like Borat. Very nice. Like, holy cow, I burned 1,753 calories. I can have a pizza. I can have 3 IPAs, right? And while I wasn't abusing food, my weight slowly started to creep up during my running years, and I gained about 12 to 15 pounds slowly. And we were running for quite a long time. I mean, I was running literally 12 to 14 hours, at least 3 years, a week. And my weight crept up slowly, and I wasn't abusing food in any way. I was just eating a little bit more, a few extra drinks a week, maybe a couple extra pieces of pizza. But because the app told me I was burning 1753 every day, I'm like, I can have a little bit more. I would never eat to being stuffed or, the abusive level. But these apps over exaggerate, for the most part, the amount of calories you are burning during exercise. So we have to really be aware of that possibility. We have to look at our calorie average, how frequently we are adding in additional exercise, and then look at what the scale is doing. So first thing you want to do is look at your calorie average during the week and what the scale is doing. And from there, we can establish a baseline whether we need to reduce calories on some day, any day. Number 2, how long are you exercising for? Generally, what I tell folks is that if you are exercising more than 45 minutes, not lifting, that doesn't count. That's not a high intensity calorie burner. If you're doing extra cardio on top of that, generally, if it's an hour or more, I would add in 200 calories for that day. An hour a day. If it's 90 minutes or more, maybe 300 calories. Okay, but really no more than that. We're just kind of fighting off the devil a little bit, especially if you're on a cut. So I would need to know more information. This is something we would really, really need to comb through to nail down with precision so I don't give you a generic answer. And if you would like help, I do phone consultations. And you can find it on my website, superlivingtheday.com. I do about one of these a week. I don't talk about it a lot because most of the time people do custom workouts or they're on Team Massive. But you can go over here and just search phone. And I do a phone consultation. I had one this week with an individual who actually found enough value where he signed up for coaching. This is very common. I care about people. And I want to do everything I can to help you reach your goals. Generally, we have so much to comb through. It runs longer than 30 minutes. So, if you need that kind of help, check that out. If you just need general questions, I'm always here to help people for free. Don't hesitate to email me. Don't hesitate to hit me up on Instagram DM. Don't hesitate to join Team Discord. I will help you all I can. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by K-I-K-E. Am I missing something? Is it a misspelling? A fancy new exercise? Maybe somebody can clue me in. Off season. I don't know what I have to understand more about what you mean by that. Because for most people, when they're not cutting, the off season is the building season. Big Velvet Thunder. I think that's one of my favorite top 10 movies of all time. Just kidding. Is there a movie called Velvet Thunder? I'm afraid to look. There probably is. With the fitness world trying to redesign itself every few months, for most people, would you still recommend? Yeah, that's probably my most popular split. Extremely flexible. A lot of people do torso limbs as well. Yeah, absolutely. The structure of the split doesn't matter at all. It has to be completely comfortable for you, something you like. Split doesn't matter. It's like the frame of a car, not the tires, not the engine, not the fuel economy. It's just a shell. And you can fill it with different exercises, different progression approaches, different frequencies. Um, rest pause, intense training tools, straight sets. It's just a shell. Like if you went to a junkyard and you just bought the shell of a car without without the engine, the transmission, really anything, you would have to build it from there. So just always view training programs in that way. That's why, when you hear people like, you must use this split, you must use that split, it's inane. It's ridiculous. Anybody pushing a specific split, like you must use push-pull legs, it's the best. You must use upper-lower, it's the best. You must use body part split, it's the best. You must use full body training, it's the best. That's just a shell. It doesn't tell you anything. It's not a program, right? Programs are about people. Programs are about your goals. Programs are about your injury history. Programs are about enjoyment. What exercises do you enjoy? You don't like squats? That's okay. Let's hit it hard the other way. Maybe with something else. Maybe you don't really care for overly developing the legs like Tom Platz, but you want a couple of leg exercises in a week. That's fine. Not everybody is trying to maximize their natural potential and be the biggest bodybuilder on the planet. Your goals are your goals. And we are going to take a split you enjoy. We're going to insert reasonable exercises that you enjoy doing that don't beat up your body. We're going to give them an engine or a progression approach. We're going to focus the transmission so the shifting is as smooth as possible. That's going to come from hard training. Hard training is going to facilitate the best possible speed. That's your transmission. Does that make sense? So that'll determine how you can accelerate effectively and get up to speed as quickly as possible. So I hope this little look inside of things is helpful. Any influencer with that is just generally advocating something, you should do this split. You can only do these exercises. This is the magic progression approach. Guys, I mean this with all sincerity. This person is lacking wisdom. They're lacking common sense. They're lacking experience training people in the real world, or if they do train people in the real world, they're sticking everybody on their dogma, rather than training human beings. Big Ernie, have you ever used a front squat harness? I've used the Manta Ray or Stingray or whatever it is. I forget. I've had both of them and I mix them up, so forgive me. I've had the Manta Ray. I've had the Stingray. If you don't know what they are, you can find them on the Amazon. Just search Manta Ray squat, Stingray squat. One of them is for the front squat. And I've tried that. Helps a little bit. I just don't like the front squat, and that's just a personal opinion. I'm not saying it can't build big quads. Certainly can. Absolutely can. I just don't particularly like the exercise. Why? Doesn't feel good. Does that mean you shouldn't try it? No. Is it helpful? I guess. It was okay. I think it was slightly helpful, and for the price, it was reasonable. The Manta Ray or the Stingray or whatever it is. I don't know. I've tried other methods where you put the strap and you hold them up here and your elbows are high. I didn't like that at all. I felt like I was focusing more on holding a strap. If you've seen Dr. Mike do Smith squats, he has it strapped in like that because big potatoes like us don't have the mobility to get our arms under the bar because we're big potatoes or old potatoes. But the whole strap thing, that he does on Smith squats, I've tried that on front squats. The best thing for me is doing this and kind of resting the bar in between my thumbs, in between like the crook of my thumb here. So I would do this, and then you get under the bar like this, and the barbell is just right under the thumb, but not resting on the thumb. And then we kind of hold things up like this. That's been the best for me. Any of the other harnesses I don't have experience with. If any of you guys have experience with any of these harnesses, either drop a comment down below or drop a comment here in the live. Lestat just finished Untamed. Not bad at all. Good to hear. Good to hear. The Alien series, 3 episodes in. It's pretty good. Amazing visuals. Some incoherences, but so far I'm intrigued. Jury's still out. One thing I say about for me, it's Westerns and space. Like, I'm not so much a science fiction guy. I don't mind science fiction. But for me, it's Westerns and space movies. As long as it's not the worst acting in the world, I will pretty much enjoy it. Horror movies, I'm a big fan. But there's so many redundant horror movies. Hey, the couple moves into the house. They have a kid. There's a book in the closet, right? Over and over again. Or the kid starts drawing a figure and the school is concerned. Like, how many times have you seen this in the last 15 years? I use a front squat harness. I struggle doing front squats with a regular barbell. Is there any downside to using a front squat harness? No, there's no downside. In fact, I think the biggest answer to this question, would be to consider maybe getting a safety squat bar. It's not specifically a front squat. Let me just check something here on YouTube because I think, let me mute this. I want to check something and see if this is a thing, because I think it's a thing and I want to show you if it's a thing. It is a thing, and I'm going to show you the thing. Okay, so hold on a second. I've never tried this, but I've seen it. A safety squat bar is going to be good on your shoulders for back squats. But I have seen this, and I want to see if any of you sexy people have seen a safety squat bar front squat. You got that big pad on your neck, so I'm not really sure. But I've seen more than a few people do it. I don't know if holding that pad would be better. Have any of you guys tried this? I'd be curious. I've seen it done more than a few times. I don't have an SSB. I would be really curious to try this. Oh, good grinder, man. Good. He stayed right in the tube on that. Are there any benefits to doing front squats? Well, the weight is more in front of you, so it's going to help you stay upright. People tend to naturally keep their knees open on a front squat. On a back squat, they have a tendency to push their knees together, kind of like they don't really realize what they're doing, but there's this degree of hesitancy or degree of like inherent fear that they might not vocalize or really even be thinking about. But when they are squatting down on a back squat, a lot of times people will push their knees together or hold their knees in. This is extremely common and something that I have to work very, very hard with a lot of people to fix. But immediately you put them on a front squat and all of a sudden their knees naturally open and their thighs, their glutes clench and they relax some of the muscles that they've been tensing up. And it'll keep you more upright. It'll generally allow you to be in a more natural squatting position, but it can be harder on the mid-back. If you like them, you like them. There's nothing wrong with doing a front squat. You're not going to be able to use as much weight. It's generally going to be harder on the mid-back, but generally those are the cons. The pros are that you will generally get more upright. It'll be more mid-back stress and lower back stress, and from what I've seen. And it'll feel a little bit more natural as far as foot positioning. And I've never seen anybody do a front squat where they hold their knees in. like they do on a back squat. Have you ever used the hammer strength plate loaded equipment? Yeah, all the time. I've used it endlessly. I like plate loaded instead of stack machines in general. I mean, I have a leg extension that is plate loaded, leg curl that's plate loaded. Love it. My lat pull down and my cable station is plate loaded. Love it. The progression opportunity just seems better and more fluid for me on plate loaded equipment rather than stack. So, I mean, there's always going to be a variance of different types of machines, and not everything is going to be equal. But in general, I would rather have a plate loaded, 100%. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Malcolm is the most underrated rhythm guitarist. There's so many different ways to rate guitarists and musicians. But one thing you have to give them is it just makes you feel good, and it just hits deep, right? It just makes you, it brings something out of you. It might be simplistic on paper because it doesn't have complex chord progressions or, fingering positions or elaborate this, that, or the other thing. But it just hits you in that right euphoric place where you just, you can't resist. It is what it is. It's just great for what it is. Subhan, let me know if I pronounced that correctly. In upper days, would you recommend 4 sets for biceps and triceps, consisting of 2 different exercises with 2 sets or 1? I would rather see you doing 2 of 2. Get in a little bit of variety. A little bit of variety is just going to be a little bit better. You want to hit those muscle groups with a few different weapons from a few different angles, because when you do one exercise specificity is a thing. You will hit an exercise in a certain way with a certain exercise. And then when you do a different exercise, it'll hit it slightly differently. So we're getting a better exposure profile. The best way I can explain this is if you only did dumbbell curls for a year, that was your only exercise, and then you started to introduce hammer curls or pinwheel curls, maybe every other week, and all of a sudden you're going to get sore in places where you didn't get sore on the dumbbell curl. Maybe it's just in the bicep. Now your brain goes, why did I get sore using a hammer curl in the bicep when I've been training my biceps for the last year using dumbbell curls, right? That's exercise specificity. Having a little bit of reasonable volume in for every body part over the course of a week or two, you're going to have multiple tools hitting the same area. And in my opinion, this is a superior and classic way of training. It's very classic. It's certainly nothing I made up. But if you look at lifting, bodybuilding over the last 70 years, I mean, back in the Silver Age, when they didn't have a lot of equipment, they would generally stick to a more focused number of exercises. And sometimes you will see influencers say, you have to do the same exercises over and over again because Silver Era. Well, we need to be rational and reasonable. And remember, these guys they didn't have access to the equipment we did. They did not, they were in gyms where they probably didn't want to jack around and changing a lot of equipment and get fancy, and let's do 800 different exercises. They generally, were a little bit more streamlined for whatever reason, and you will hear the argument sometimes from these certain, influencing segments where Silver Era did this, therefore it's the best, right? Well, that's faulty logic. Silver Era did what Silver Era did, and it worked hard, and the cornerstone was hard training, right? But I am certain if you brought Steve Reeves, John Grimek, Reg Park into the future, that they would probably have a little bit more variety. They wouldn't walk into like LA Fitness or Gold's Gym and go, I am from the silver era and we will only use these exercises and streamlined approach. No, I think that really dumbs down who these people were. It's reductionist nonsense and it's a fairy tale. I think if these individuals walked into the gym, they're not thinking, I'm a silver era guy and I'm going to use only the same exercises over and over and over again. They would think how any successful lifter thinks over the decades and decades. What can I do to maximize stimulation and growth? And in their case, a lot of brutality. So I don't think they would think in terms of barbells and dumbbells and plate loaded machines and whatever. I think they would think in terms of effectiveness. And you would probably see a little bit more variety simply because they would walk into an environment with more tools to work with. Anybody that is a craftsman, a muscle building, strength building, they are going to work. They are going to play with tools. They're going to evolve their training, and they are going to learn. These influencing pools that say that these guys would only use what they use, it's an insult to them, and it's not reality. It's a fairy tale that they are using to push you to use a program they used in the silver era in the way they use it in the silver era, because they have to stand out like a purple cow and be different than everybody else. But in reality, this isn't likely how Steve Reeves or John Grimek or Vince Garanda would train, in a commercial gym. They would play with things, they'd experiment, they'd learn, they'd modify, they'd evolve. A cornerstone of the massive iron system, evolve your training based on needs. What do you think is reasonable amount of hard sets per training session, specifically if going to the gym 4 days a week? Check out my volume PDF. I'm going to bring it up right now. This is something I posted on Instagram yesterday. If you guys want to reference this, if you guys want a copy of this, it's not rocket surgery, but it does contain the charts, and the charts are quite interesting. Let me pull it up. I'd be happy to email it to you, so you could email me, benthebarman@gmail.com. Hard sets. I'm going to give you a starting point. These are only starting points. This isn't a rule. So I'm going to remove his post. Finding the right volume, complete look, including charts for training days per week. Now, blah, 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 explanation. These are starting points. I'm not trying to put a square peg into a round hole or tell you how much volume to do. These are reasonable starting points. And at the very bottom, you can see how much time generally each of these workouts will take, give or take. Somebody on average volume might be able to do it in 60 minutes. Some will be able to do it in 90 minutes. There's a lot of variables here, so don't get upset. So 4 days a week, major areas of focus. You want to start with 12 sets of quads, 12 for back, 12 for delts, 12 for delts, 12 for chest. Minor areas of focus, biceps, triceps, hamstrings, and then you can put in any extra work you want. When I say minor areas of focus, that doesn't mean they're minor body parts. What I mean is that if you're doing a lot of quad work, you're doing a lot of back work, you're probably going to have a lot of hamstring stimulation, and then adding in that amount of hamstring work should be plenty. So you have low, reasonable, high, very high. If you are training 4 days a week and you are doing 8 sets for quads, back, delts, chest, 3 for biceps, triceps, hammies, you're going to have 48 total sets, or 12 per day. That's fine. It's on the lower end, but lower doesn't mean ineffective. I'm super busy. There's a lot of times that's all I do per training day. We don't want to get dogmatic. So generally, Most people will be around reasonable, average, or in a tight squeeze for time. Some of my clients are down at the low end. I have clients at the low end. If they're like, I need to get in and out in 60 minutes, I don't have a lot of time, we'll be at the low end. Generally, I start people around average and see how they feel. And it isn't a rule. We evolve things based on what is going on. Do I have some clients on the high end? A couple. I have some really, just guys that like to dig in and recover well, like my client Michael, will be a little bit on the higher end. That's fine, as long as you're recovering and not beating up your body. Now I'm going to bring up, this is the 3.5 days per week or every other day. Basically, you have to look at a 2-week profile and calculate week averages. And then we have, you guys can screenshot this or just simply go over to Instagram or message me. It's on Team Massive Discord. You can download it. I also have a Facebook group called Massive Iron Plus. I have posted it up there. You can download as well. 3 days a week. You can see averages starting with 18 hard sets per day. This, when I say hard, this could have bicep work in, tricep work in, hamstring work in, calves work in, abs work. So not everything is just like, ramming compounds and that sort of stuff. And then 5 days per week. All right. Mo. I've been cutting for a month. My pushing strength is dropping fast. That's normal. Also exercising and the workout struggling. Absolutely normal. This is something all of my clients hear over and over again, and something I preach. Presses take the biggest hit on a cut. Don't panic. It's normal. Presses really take a hit. Your glycogen depleted. Your energy levels are low. It's not like you're losing this strength forever. So just use it as motivation to get the cut over. Be safe. You shouldn't be doing 3-rep max work on a cut. I'm just giving you that fatherly lecture. That's just too heavy to be working on a cut. You need to back down a little bit. And if you are struggling to get through your workouts, just drop a few of the exercises to 2 sets per exercise. There's no harm in this. A cutting phase is not a building phase. And you don't want to overextend yourself during a cut. This doesn't mean you should train fluffy, but you have to use, common sense. On a side note to JJ's question, go to the gym anyway. Sometimes you do your best workout. Absolutely. One of the things I've noticed is there's one day in specific where I had like 4.5, 5 hours of sleep. And I was scheduled to squat. This was during the heyday when I was at my strongest, putting 600 pounds on my back every week, 600 plus. I remember going down to the gym and hitting like 625 for a double. It was an all-time PR, and it was on sleep deprivation. I thought I was going to absolutely just bomb. I'm going to show you the video if you guys don't mind, if you have a second. It was at 625. I don't know. I've done so many squats over the years. I think it was, hold on. I had it 625. I'm pretty sure it was this day. The filming is awful. It is. It's really, really awful. And I can't help that because this was recorded 12 years ago on some, ganky whatever. I don't even remember how I recorded it, but it has chains on. So it's a 625 double lockout. And I followed that up on this training day with 730 deadlift by 3, both PRs. This was on sleep deprivation. 625 lockout with chains. We'll just let it roll here for a second. Big, fat, hairy, ugly dude. One of these days he's going to squat after holding the bar on his back for 30 seconds. And I was a big, fat, land creature. Oh, that was a 625 single. I can't remember. I thought it was a double. Where's the double? 625. It was this one. Yeah, this is the one right here. This is this. Hold on. Present, share screen. Thought you guys could see it. This is the 625 double I did in sleep deprivation mode. I was a big fat potato. Feel free to make fun of me. But this was on sleep deprivation mode. And it's 625 lockup for double. This was a PR. This was in June of 2012 or 13. Let's just see what happens here. Big old hairy ugly dude. Boom. Pretty quick descent for me back in the day. It felt a lot more controlled than it was. A little bit slow. I probably could have got another rep at least, gun to head, but it is what it is. I got pretty excited back then. So yeah, let me just remove this and we'll get back on with business. Is there any benefit to alternating leg press and barbell squat week to week? I'm not a big fan of doing squats, barbell squats every other week. Most lifts you're okay with it as long as you have a reasonable Patty said, is that video you? Yeah, that's me 100%. On bench, you're going to be doing bench variations every other week. Deadlifts, it's okay to do every other week. On squats, I want to see squatting every week. I feel like I get some deconditioning on my connective tissue, and I feel like I get distanced from good form. I just feel like there's a slight loss of conditioning, which gets in my head when I don't squat every week. So Patty said, is that you? You look younger now. Thank you. Yeah, that was 12, 13 years ago. Anybody that's witnessed my transformation, my transformation really occurred when I was 47 or 48. I lost 100 pounds and I looked so much younger. And people often, come to me now and they're like, you don't look how you did at the end of your transformation. True, but I'm also 10 years older and I'll be 58 this year. So, no one can battle father time. I don't look as young and sexy as I did back then. But I'm glad you brought this up because I feel I look much younger now than I did back then. Maybe not. My barbell squats are after RDLs. As long as you feel okay, that's fine. As long as your lower back feels okay, that's fine. There's no magic structure. As long as you are being smart, we are happy with it. How smart is it to bench? I would not bench 4 to 5 times a week. That's not going to provide any benefits and only a large amount of potential downside. You could potentially do that in an overreaching style for a very short period of time, but you are just going to, you're going to contribute to the possibility of overuse injuries. More is not better. Get in some variation, train more reasonably. Don't try to force. Don't think you can expedite progression by destroying yourself. Usually all you do is destroy yourself. Thank you. I was working out 65 minutes plus 90 minutes in one day, riding to school and back. Thank you. I'm here to help. And anytime you're over 60 minutes, you probably, I want to look at your overall calories, but it's probably worth it adding in a couple hundred a day. Almost got you. Big Lee. Oldest 14-year-old. Oh, gotcha. So they're a little bit older. They're at that stage where they're going to pick up that itch for lifting. Seeing as you're a big Marvel fan, do you think there is an anti-universe where you're the small, shaven, handsome dude praising waiter curls? You know, who knows? I mean, maybe in another life, the younger me. You guys want to see a funny picture since we don't want to work and it's Friday? I won't be too long. Da 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 da. Let's see. We're just going to search. This was at a Cubs game. This is at a Cubs game with a couple of my friends. And I'll show you what the little hairy Athlete X dude used to look like. I was still training heavy, trust me. I was not training like Athlete X, but copy image address, booty, boot, ding, 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 share, blah, blah, blah. Present, share screen. Here's the little furry, hairy, ugly dude. I probably had, I don't know, 16 inch guns, chesticles. You know, I don't know. That was me. That was me, I don't know, a couple years into my journey. I had started out completely skinny fat. That was me a couple years into my journey. So I'm a little bit taller than Athlete X at that point, right? So there you have it. Reverse bench or close grip bench for triceps. In the massive iron world, the answer is always both. If you have interest in them, use both. Alternate them every other week. The only way to figure out for yourself, if we have two reasonable exercise variations, the only way to figure it out is to try both, do both. I would alternate every other week in that slot. And sometimes the greatest benefit you're going to get is out of doing both every other week. Michael from Germany. Always good to see Michael. Greetings from Berlin. Everyone, is there any real benefit from doing moderate cardio and trying to get down to 10%? If you reach the point where things stagnate a little bit or are going slower than you would want, and you've been in a cut for a while, then adding in a small amount of steady state cardio, and I say small because we don't want to just go in and add a large amount out of the gate. Your choice then is to, am I doing okay with hunger? Maybe drop calories 100. Am I struggling a little bit with hunger? Maybe add in a little bit of extra weekly cardio. Start with 30 minutes. So it depends on the situation. Am I really hungry? Then I wouldn't drop calories anymore unless your discipline is really, really good. Do I have time? Then I would add in 30 minutes of cardio a week, maybe upwards of 60. Does that make sense? Thank you, Velvet. I appreciate you being here. Personally, I'm really enjoying those old Gaio movies. Those Italians really did good on the horror crowd. I'll check that out. You took a left turn at Albuquerque, and I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. For a glute, why do I want to say quad dominant? Because I'm quad dominant. For a glute dominant squat or trying to get bigger squat, should I focus more on machine? No. You focus on a good selection of exercises. You don't worry about dominance, okay? I'm a quad dominant lifter. You might be a glute dominant squatter. That doesn't mean your quads are not getting good stimulus from squats. So what you want to focus on is doing a good selection of exercises for the quads that feel good for you. If you like squats, absolutely keep them in. If you're not stapled to squats, then do some variations, hack and Smith and leg extension, because leg extension will not, involve the glutes. So does that make sense? Thanks, Michael. Nothing but love and respect. Big Jeff, how's it going? Good to see you, Jeffrey. Big Lee, reason a front squat is that it makes Dr. Mike cry. Yeah, didn't he say front squats are junk? That made me want to return to front squats. Yep, that's absolutely me. All right, guys, we got 4 questions left. 4 questions left. I'm giving you guys the final warning. If I don't get any more questions, I will be hopping off. So get in your questions now. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate it. For elderly women, if they want to start lifting, how much do the female barbells weigh? Well, first off, if an elderly woman wants to start lifting, I don't want them doing barbell exercises. I want them doing machines and some moderate dumbbells to start. Let's get their central nervous system up to speed a little bit. Let's get them over that shaky period, that neuromuscular adaptation period. And, let's get them over the extreme soreness period by doing something moderate. They don't need to squat. They don't need to deadlift. They don't even need to bench. They don't even need to overhead. Let's get them in and learn what they are capable of and then go from there. I don't ever throw somebody that is older and especially female on training methods that we use. We need to meet them where we're at, learn their limitations, learn their likes and dislikes. Some women are extremely passionate about the barbell exercise. I work with several of them right now, and we're not making a generalization. A lot of women have different goals. They could have the goal of just improving overall health and building up some foundational degree of strength, functional degree of strength as they age. Some women get the fever for the flavor of the squats, right? They're like, yeah, let's do it. I love the squats. I love the deadlifts. I love the big lifts. But we don't take somebody that is elderly and just throw them on the big 4. Does that make sense? Any downside to using the pecky decky or crossover movement, doing lots of barbell, machine, and Smith pressing? That's basically the massive iron way. A barbell or dumbbell, machine, or Smith, those are good quality selection of exercises. And then in last place, you can do pecky decky. I'd rather have you do pecky decky than crossover, because crossover, yes, you can feely wheelie your chesticles, but a crossover, we just have to just maybe want to flex a little bit. Sorry, I'm just being silly. A crossover, doesn't generally have a lot of progression. It doesn't. People, Shelly, don't call me elderly. You're far from elderly, Shelly. Elderly is more, at that stage where somebody has never really exercised and they kind of look elderly. Shelly, you do not. If you do, then I do. All right, so don't get your undies in a bundle. That's what my mom used to say. The pecky decky is a great choice. Usually has a lot of progression opportunity. The crossover, yes, you can feel it. Don't get your undies in a bundle. The downside, and we need to be reasonable here, is that the crossover does not have a lot of progression opportunity. Progressive overload is cornerstone in building muscle. You can do it as a last place exercise. You can use it as a finisher as long as you have the big exercises before it. What do you think reasonably hard sets for quads and hamstring are? Hard sets are sets. A hard set, are you focused on getting as much out of the set as you can? Are you trying to beat the logbook safely when you can? That's a hard set, regardless of the exercise or the body part you're approaching or you're attacking. So I'm not sure if that's what you meant. Maybe you can clarify before we hop off. Tony, as far as dumbbell pullover, some programs use as a chest and some say it's a lat. You're going to have a minor degree of chest activation because it's a complex movement. It's a unicorn lift. Okay. When you're pressing forward, your chest is going to get activation. In doing the pullover, because you're kind of moving the hand forward from body to forward in space, just through an arc, you're still going to get chest activation. In my opinion, it's not the primary mover. In my opinion as well, you can skew it to be more chest focused. So I don't like to position it as a straight chest exercise. It is a unicorn lift. You can skew it to get chest focus or stretch of the rib cage. But because of the elbow rotation, you can really, like if you're pulling over and you think about pulling your elbows towards your hips, you can really feel it in the lat. So regardless, it's going to get the long head of the triceps, the back, the lats, the chest to a minor degree, maybe the front delts to a minor degree. So, you know, I wouldn't use it specifically as a chest exercise. You could stick it in at the end of a chest week, you know, and try to do the old rib cage chest focus. I wouldn't have any problem with that. We're not trying to make rules or limit people. How can someone ever love squats there, Brutal? That's a very important question, because very valid question. I don't know, man. I've been doing them for 40 years. I'm going to do them today. I still hate them, but I love them because I hate them. You're not elderly, Shelley. Elderly is more aged, frail, not what we used to be. And Shelley, you are a machine. We're not hating on the pecky decky at all, my friends. I just like to give things silly names. What are your thoughts on the number 1,000 for the big three? It's a really, really good goal. It's a goal that is hard to achieve. Getting a 315-pound squat, a 400 deadlift, those are hard. Despite what you see on the internet or YouTube Fitness, 1,000 is extremely respectable, and it's more rare than you guys think. If my bench has stalled, but overwork and triceps are progressing, how can I troubleshoot the issue? First off, we have to have more information. Stalls are not generally legitimate unless they're very, very long term. I don't know your strength. What's your strength on bench? Let's say you bench 185 today. I don't know him. I'm just saying, if he benches 185, if you add only one rep to your top set or your heaviest set every month, one rep a month, in 2 years, you'll be benching 315. That's reasonable progress. Most people will not get to 315. So if you discount that as being reasonable progress, I would tell you it's more than reasonable. I don't feel you have a stall. I feel you have a patience issue. And this isn't an insult. I'm just trying to educate you guys so you can have proper goals and not get frustrated. If you hit a rep addition on your top set every 5 to 6 weeks on bench, that would be about 10 rep additions a year. Over 2 years, that would be 20 rep additions. Let me show you something. I've done this many, many times on here, and I want to show you guys that I'm not just making things up. Okay. So Let me just present, share screen. Ba-da-ba-ba. Let's say you bench press 185 for one. Obviously, your 1 rep max is 185. Okay, so we're going to add 1 rep every 5 weeks to our top set. After a year, we're going to have 11 because we only added 1 rep every 5 weeks. So it's 10 a year. Okay, we're up to 11. And then the second year, we're going to go up to 21. We're going to add 10 every 5 weeks. What do you think the 1 rep max is going to be? 314 pounds. If you add 1 rep to your heavy set every 5 weeks, you're a beast in 2 years. That would be pretty reasonable, solid progress compared to what you see on the worldwide interwebs. Now, if you had a dude that was doing 185 for one, and they expected to add a rep every week, and I'm not saying you do, I'm just stating this in general. I don't even know if this calculator does it. Add a rep every week for 2 years. You'd be benching 807 pounds after 2 years. Naturally, without any gear. You see how ridiculous that is? You start out 185 by 1, and you add a rep every 2 weeks over 2 years. Whoops. What do you think that's going to be? 1 rep every 2 weeks. Feels slow. After 2 years, you'd be benching 500 naturally. All right, we'll just keep this going for a little bit. 1 rep every 3 weeks. That'd be about 16, 17 a year. We'll do 50. So we'll bump it to 51. What do you think that's going to be? A rep every 3 weeks for 2 years. Wait. I screwed that. For 2 years. 2 years. 1 to 35. 35. 2 years. Every 3 weeks. You're benching 400 after 2 years. That's a rep every 3 weeks. All right, we'll do one more. 1 rep every 4 weeks. So we're going to go to about 27 reps after 2 years. What do you think that's going to be? 1 rep every 4 weeks. 1 stinking tiny rep every 4 weeks. 350 after 2 years. The majority of us don't have a stall. We have a lack of understanding of the reality of the process. Does that make sense? So I'm not trying to insult you at all. I'm just trying to, bring this to the table. There are other variables. Are you bulking? Are your calories consistent? The biggest thing you will notice if lifters are not consistent with their calories or not trying to bulk or build is that their presses are going to give them fits. So the biggest 2 things you can do to improve your bench pressing is, number 1, be patient. Do something sustainable and reasonable that doesn't get you hurt so you can continue to press over and over again. And number 2, nail your intake and be in a slight surplus, not a fat bulk, a sustainable, very lean bulk. Come join Team Massive Discord. I'll help you out. We'll get into the weeds. If I hit my rep goal, but my form may have not been perfect, it depends on the lift. If you're pressing and you hit your rep goal, that's just a grinder. That's okay. Move up. If on a pendlay row or a row and you hit that slow speed and you English a little bit, then we'll probably want to wait another week. If it's on a curl and you had to kind of, right, I'd probably wait another week to clean it up. It depends on the lift. Josh said, if you're not natty, months of stalls are normal. I mean, 5 to 6 weeks, just the biggest thing I can tell you guys, is be patient. Remain steadfast. You're going to get there. The people that lose the battle are the people that quit or jump around to a new program because I think there's going to be a magic way to go from 185 to 315 a year. The magic is just what I told you. So you are at 185 for 9.7. That's great work, man. 185 for, let me bring up the 1 rep max calculator again. 1 rep max calculator. So 185 by 9 is going to put you at like what, 240, 235, 238. Pretty good guess on my part. So you're at about 238. I would say you're at 240. If you can get 9, you can get a half rep on 10. You're probably pretty close to 240. So you want to get to 315. You're so close. You need 75 pounds. And that is going to be like 13 rep additions to your top set. Put it on the whiteboard, 13, 12, 13, 14. Every day you get one, tick it off. Get on a lean bulk. You're going to be there before you know it. Slowly gaining a half a week. That's good. You're in a good place. So if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. Email, Instagram. If you want me to look at your program, you want me to look at your progress, I would be happy to do so. All right, guys, we are an hour and 32 minutes in. We are all out of questions. I will stay on for a couple more minutes just to see if there are any more questions. Please come back next Friday. I'm here to help. I would love to help you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. And in the meantime, if you want a custom workout, head over here, go to the search button, hit custom. If you want a phone consultation, we stay on as long as you need. Head over here, hit phone. And if you want coaching, it's only $89.40 after the first month. I would love to work with you. This is what I do for a living. And I'm not an influencer. I'm a full-time coach. We will get in the knit and the grit, and we will make it happen. Go over here and search coach. All right, we got a couple more that came in. What's the fastest mile you ever ran on purpose? When I was in the military, I remember being timed in basic training, like week 6. And I think it was like 6:23. Don't quote me. I mean, this was 30 some years ago, but it was in the 6:20, 22, 23, 24 ish. I've never been a super fast runner. So, I'm not making excuses. That's the fastest I remember. During my teens, I would go out and run 3 miles, 4 miles, a lot. But I didn't really have a watch or a phone. This was the 80s and 90s, right? So I wasn't going out there like timing my stuff. I would just go out there and give her. In the last 20 years, I don't know. I took up ultra running at age 50, and ultra running wasn't about time for me. It was about survival. Ultra running or endurance running, trail running for endurance isn't about time. Every mile is different, literally. Like, you look at some of these places, it's, Capon in West Virginia. I did that a couple times. Some places you have to be a mountain goat. There's so many rocks. No, the longest I ran was 100 kilometers for my 52nd birthday a few years back. I've run a lot of 50Ks on trails. I've run a lot of trail marathons. 100 kilometers for my 52nd birthday is the most I've ever run. Thanks. I'm glad you are here, and I appreciate that. I would definitely be interested in dialogue with the parallels that you have as far as coaching. Excellent. Anytime you want to talk, I'm always here. Benching 2 times per week and using your 5-10-10 help my numbers. That's where I would start for anybody that wants to bring up their bench. Twice a week, the 5-10-10-20 protocol, 1 week. And if you don't know what that is, message me or search bench or 5-10-10-20 here. And then something like 3s or 3x5 or straight sets on the other. Big Joshua. That's cool. I'm new to hypertrophy and don't hear about many runners. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Please come back next Friday. Next Friday. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful week.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.